Welcome back and welcome home. My name is Melissa and I will be your multi-dimensional cosmic tour guide today. We are going to choose a channeling. We're going to have 3 choices that you can choose and receive a channeled message. So if you want to, you can take a minute and pause and decide whether you want to choose number 1, Joan of Arc. Or number 2, Kurt Cobain. Or number 3, Robin Williams. Choose a channeling. So each one of you collective will receive a message from your chosen channeled message today, and chosen saint or ascended master or divine being that's here to help us. So let's go ahead and get started with number 1, Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, as we know, is a saint from the 1400s, France. Joan of Arc, when she was 13 years old, started having visions and started connecting and communicating with divine source and angelic beings. So she was chosen way back in the day, right in the middle of war and gross stuff. She was a peasant. So in that caste system, she wasn't treated all that well anyway. And by the time she was 14, she was fighting in wars. And she had visionary, mystical powers, they could call it. She was a psychic medium, one of the divine magicians or alchemists. And she helped bring the divine will to France in those times in the middle of the war. And by the time she was 19, she was captured and burned at the stake for heresy and blasphemy. So in these times that we're in, what I'm getting from her, she's saying greetings, and that she sends out love, and in our collective consciousness, many of you have energies and walk with Joan of Arc frequencies and bandwidth layers. And she says, so sometimes when we're in the midst of spiritual war, whether someone's coming against us or it's, been a little bit unpleasant in our circumstances, that Joan of Arc energy is with us to help us in advancement and understanding. And many of you, she says, are very much connected to your spiritual gifts, talents, abilities. And there are many who are trying to take those things from you. And she says, so stay protected. She's pulling up a shield. She's saying, stay protected. God is with you and you're safe. So I'm going to pull a card from, this makes me so happy, from the Saints deck. My mother, before she passed a long time ago, brought these to me, this Saints cards, Voices of Saints, tarot cards, and many years ago, because she always supported my divine path, talents, abilities, and to the best of her ability, and just makes me happy to be able to pull a card from this deck. So we've got this, and I shuffled and prayed before we started on all of the decks and with all of our channeled guests. So here we go. We got number 7. I knew it was going to be something that was tough to say. We got Saint number 7, Saint Aloysius Gonzaga. Aloysius Gonzaga. So we've got this young man who's holding the symbol of Christ, pure Christ, cross in his robe, And there's a skull over here. So there's much death and destruction going on in our ascension process as layers and layers and layers of pain and death and suffering are being pulled out of the energy in the collective consciousness. So for some more than others, lots of loss, lots of suffering, and having to really, really take care of ourselves and our friends, family, and loved ones, and be in really big protective mode in these days and weeks and months. I am going to look him up to see what saint he was about here and what the number 7 means. So the number 7 also is sometimes connected with inner knowledge, wisdom, truth. And she is saying, be who you came here to be, even if it is hard, even if others are pointing at you and blocking you. And she says, just ask the hand of God to sweep away all those curses, hexes, vexes, spells, abuses, crimes, and severe injustices that we have seen unfold in the last decades and centuries and millennia. She's saying because it's being pulled out, big injustices out of the collective consciousness. And it's playing out on stages in our own personal lives, as well as in groups and in different layers. It sometimes seems incomprehensible. And the losses have been so great. If you've ever had a loss, loss a parent, lost a child, lost a sibling, mate, we know that can be just overwhelming and incomprehensible. And in ways, the collective consciousness, our hearts, have all been marred and scarred by our losses. And the hand of God is here to help soothe and smooth and bring grace and bring Christ into every cell and every level, every molecule of our mind, body, spirit, soul, to nourish us and nurture us and remind us that this is but a blink of an eye, and this is a moment and a piece of our actual soul, which is whole. And she's saying, welcome home, as we become more whole here on earth, heaven on earth, incoming. So number 7, Aloysius Gonzaga. He's the patron saint of scholars, students, seminaries. Sometimes he helps with if we have too many commitments or have overcommitted ourselves. And he helps with things that are very hard work. So just as Joan of Arc is telling us that sometimes some of the things in our lives seem so insurmountable, and we are going to use the, of course, the time Jesus said, look, when you catch on, you will perform much greater miracles than I. And that will be moving mountains, casting out demons, and healing all people. And these are those times. And we send out big heart love, and then we're receiving a heart activation. So all those things that they've said about us, and they lied about us, the fabrications, the frauds, the crimes, Joan of Arc is helping in this beautiful divine timing and intervention for all of you who chose channeling number 1 with Joan of Arc, and helping us open our hearts and connecting with God's source in whatever ways are best for you. And she's saying it again, be who you came here to be. And the number 7 is, studying sometimes can be associated with the occult. And she is saying in that we are reversing by surrendering and being in connection with pure divine source, Christed connection. Your divinity is unfolding, and by being in that, divine energy, and your intentions being in that divine energy, it reverses everything that's been done in the dark, been done to harm you, been done to persecute, and those abominations done against you, me, us, them, our brothers and sisters, and everyone throughout history in some ways. And it reverses the betrayals and the persecutions and the judgments and the falsities and the false light and the misuses of power. And it makes our heart become free. And she says, be who you came here to be, and know that all of your work, all of your hard work, and all of the things that you've worked on all of these years is totally worth it. And you'll be seeing some changes in your life where it'll just be at ease. You'll be at ease, and no matter what they've said or done, those things will be swept away in the tide, the hand of God, the breath of God for us. And stack number one, choice number one, she's honoring you, your honor, your wisdom, your knowledge, your truth, and saying thank you for being you, and thank you for making the choice to choose the light of God in every way, to the best of your ability, even if it's not like anyone else's. Thank you for working and growing within your spiritual abilities and talents. Whether you see, hear, feel, taste, smell, know, those abilities are being actually plugged in higher up, higher frequencies. Again, our hearts are shining with pure divine grace, love, peace, joy, and being activated in your abilities, acceleration and advancement, and that you've worked so hard to be you honorably. All of you who have been honorable and have compassion for others are being led forward, and there are some really good changes. And if you've been kind of alone or separate or isolated or in grief or pain or suffering with losses and suffering, just know that the fear is going to be dissipated and transmuted out of this big chunk of collective consciousness. And you can expect to laugh. You can expect to share. You can expect to find your soul tribes and your soulmates and your true people that you should work with and be around and live next to, and feel that safety and protection of that Christed energy in you and around you and amongst you and between you. So she's saying, just know that you are loved. And she's saying it again, thank you for being who you came here to be. She says, guess what? When you recognize that you don't need to fight with the sword, sometimes we will need to do boundaries and stand up for ourselves. But we only need to hold that pure divine Christed energy as it sweeps away over and over each time, each breath, in and out, enhances that connection with God's source in our hearts, and sweeps away the suffering, sweeps away the graspings of the darkness, the people. And she says, good job. And if you need a little assistance and feel a little bit left out in the cold or alone, just know that you can call upon her and other saints just for assistance. And they will indeed be honored to come help. The whole bandwidth layer will be honored to help and help you see clearly and help you know inside more clearly and help you on your path. I'm going to pull one card for the last moment from the Starseeds deck. For those who chose channeling with Joan of Arc. Magnificence. I am that I am. all of you have the spark of magnificence of God, the children of God that you are. And I can feel it. I can see some of you shine from here. Sevens might be significant, and ones might be significant for you. And your theme message is, you are amazing, magnificent, and unique. But most importantly, you are enough. Thank you so much. Those who chose channeling number 1. Blessings. Are you ready? Are you ready, choices of channeling Kurt Cobain number 2? I'm excited. As you know, I've worked with that bandwidth layer of Kurt Cobain for many years, and it wasn't really my choice. But sometimes some of us have missions, and even double missions. And all of you that chose channeling with Kurt Cobain number 2 likely have some of the bandwidth layer of Kurt Cobain energies and purposes and missions as well. So he's saying hello, and he's saying your wisdom and knowledge and truth are really unfolding. And he says that cosmic Christ energy is bringing that true purified Christ from all of the universe. The big image of God knows you, loves you, recognizes you, chooses you, chosen ones. And he says you'll see it more. And some of you are getting ready to have extremely large, extremely big life changes. And he's saying this too. What was taken from you, what was beaten out of you, what was unjust, unfair, untrue, and even in some ways demonized, is going to be set back into alignment in your destined path. And any looky-loos, hanger-oners, sticky fingers, soul swappers or binders or whatever some of those people out there are doing, it's getting ready to be course corrected where you can see it in your physical life. And some of you, everything has been taken, like you have been destroyed in many ways. So much like Kurt Cobain in his life, he says, look, it was hard for me. Always he was extremely open channel, starseed, child of God. And he says, the way I thought, my perspectives and perception was different. And many of you chosen channeling number 2 with Kurt Cobain are also energetically frequency perceiving people and old souls. And he says old starseeds too, like old school ancestors here on Earth in physical form. And he says you might be seeing lots of 2s, many signs in different directions for each one of you. And he's saying there's a freedom. You'll feel a freedom as you continue to soak in the light as these shifts are happening, and the energies of those fear-based energies in the collective consciousness are pushed away. Layer by layer, circumstance by circumstance, unstitched and removed out of the layers of consciousness and mass consciousness. So the collective, he's saying, I'm really proud of you. He's saying some of you have been sort of isolated. There's almost like a reverb, of the years of COVID. And he says it was a reverse. It was a delay tactic, a bigger tactic by the controller thingies, violators. And he says right now they're just being bounced around left and right, and they didn't realize it, but they hunted and were marring and scarring themselves and doing the abomination things to themselves. And he says as that's removed, step by step, layer by layer, in many levels of the collective, just know that your light shines. And he says, be who you came here to be. It's the theme of the messages today. And always. He's saying cosmic Christ, and that twin flame or marriage of Christ within is connecting really, really well with Source. And you'll be able to see how far you've come. Many of you, really strong strides and forward movement. I'm going to pull a card from the Christ Consciousness Amanda Ellis deck. When I was kind of setting up and realizing I was supposed to do 3 choices, Kurt Cobain said, I want that one. Christ Consciousness, Amanda Ellis. And we'll see what we got. Because he's got a few more messages. He's saying, all of you that love tones, frequencies, things like that, play some music a little bit and know that even in that level of life, the world, the tones and frequencies within music and our voices even are being cleansed and cleared. So a lot of throat chakra activity is going on where there's cleansing and clearing. And he says, keep your head up and tell the truth. Some of you, it's time for you to tell your stories that you have been silenced about. And he says, in his lifetime, he did a lot of drugs and just sort of had just an eccentric kind of life, and it was not easy. So he says, love one another. And he says, many of you have loved some of the dark beings, the soulless. And he says, so we can call them karmics or irrelevant or reptilians or whatever. But he says, I also it was not always easy for me to do boundaries, and I just wanted to share and write music, write songs, and contemplate and love and be loved. And he says, it wasn't always easy. And if you have loved or been chosen by a dark being, some of those reverb consequences are being scrubbed away from you. And he knows some of you are scared. He didn't have a way out either. And he says, but right now, in the collective, all of you, children of God, starseeds, pure Christed beings, not that you are perfect, not that you don't have addictions, not that you haven't made mistakes, not that you don't, make mistakes or say stupid things sometimes or get confused. But those things in the fear, in the collective, is cleansing away. And you get to rebalance in your true divinity, and that cosmic Christ. Your heart will be activated in super big ways in the next days, weeks, months, and years. He's saying some of you need to write it down, write your book, share your story, even if it is scary, even if you've been silenced. He said, in a way, his life was, he didn't have a lot of choice sometimes. And he gave us a lot of keys of understanding. And as did Joan of Arc, who was the first choice channeling, this is what came out. 2 of them came out. It's not really fair because we only did 1 in the first pile. Thomas, mind trap and doubt. So anyone with a Christian background knows that Thomas, one of the disciples, was called Doubting Thomas sometimes because he got confused and he didn't know what to really believe and understand. And all of us have been there, all of us that have ever been alive on this planet. And it's time for you to know that fear is going to be pulled out. there are so many good people coming towards you, safe, good, people that can, like, you can trust, that don't need to have arguments or dramas or things like that, because those things are being pushed out of our systems, the collective, and into the abyss where it belongs. There's a Nirvana, and it is famous for singing a song. I was singing it not too long ago when I was at the lake. It just came out. You never know when I'll break out into song. It was Lake of Fire. So where do bad folks go when they die? They don't go to heaven where the angels fly. They go to the Lake of Fire and Fry. We'll see him again on the 4th of July. And he's saying, you're free. And just know, even though all of us are doubting and a little bit confused and nervous about some things, you're free. And you're free to be your super rock star seed selves. Love that. And this other one popped out, and it is purity. Return to innocence. I have been channeling this over and over and over and over in the last months. And part of his message is that the truth is you did not lose your purity and your innocence, even though almost all of us have truly been just beaten down and degraded so much and truly marred inside. And he says those are being corrected, and those of you with extra trauma, orchestrated traumas, secret weirdo societies, stalking you forever off and on and setting you up and being crazy communities, he's saying those persecutions will be put to rest and end now forever. And he's saying to the beginning of time and back is what Melissa likes to say, and that's the way I perceive it in our Akashic records. And he's saying our Akashic records are being healed, and so you can keep asking God if you're having a little bit of trouble to help you clear and cleanse and hold you up in that Christed and cosmic Christ heart, because there's such a beautiful soul song there for you. You fit, you belong, and yeah, that's really beautiful and special. And he's saying, don't forget everything that's been done, even over the thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. You're going to find out and wake up that the duality system, in a way, has always been light and light. We are in a universe of light. And we will far surpass anything that humanity's ever known, and you will see it, some of it, in your lifetime. So thank you so much. Choice channeling number 2 with Kurt Cobain. He's saying, stay safe, and if they ever called you crazy, if they ever called you names, just know there's a lot of work being done on your crown chakra. And if you have any tracking devices or dead zones or any energies, blockages, that the hand of God and this cosmic Christ, purified Christ, the big universal cosmic Christ, will assist you. And remember to keep asking, because we are all here. All of the heavens are here to help. And he's saying it's okay. We'll get through those false lights and those fabrications. It's okay. And he's saying, rock and roll. He's saying, get in the car sometime this week and sing a song, sing a song that makes you feel strong and comfortable and good. And he's saying maybe like a song that makes you feel loved, or gives you strength, or makes you laugh, or just one of your favorites. And he's like, go old school. Sing a song with me. And he says, love one another, because the golden rule is very, very relevant in that Christed twin flame marriage of Christ, divinity that you're aligning in. I'm going to pull one of the Starseeds cards to wrap it up for choice channeling number 2 with Kurt Cobain. He's just pretty cool and makes me want to smoke cigarettes. I think that's my own problem, but he's just pretty cool and makes me want to smoke cigarettes. Yep. He says he loves all of you, and he thanks you for letting him share. I love it. I see it. Dreams. He's saying dream big. Some of you have big destinies and purposes that have been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed by the really, really dark forces. Like some of you have been targeted severely. Some of you have had really severe things happen and purposely trying to disrupt, harm, harvest, swap, bind into your consciousness or your collective consciousness, these layers. And he's saying all those dreams are real, like you are a starseed. The universe speaks to you through your dreams. And that means dreams at night. And keep asking for your, like, when you go to bed, your dream state, any open portals or anything that dark energies have come in the night to be shut down and almost like manned by Christ. Protection. But that card, the dreams, also means dream really big. And just know that the universe will speak to you and remind you all of your true destined path. Because you're the light. And this is a light universe. And you're the children of God. Thank you. Stack number 2. Chose channeling with Kurt Cobain. Thank you. You ready, number 3? Are you ready, choices of channeling with Robin Williams, number 3? So, Robin Williams is here today, and he says, Nanu. Greetings, he's saying. You will, he's so excited to be here, and you will feel that little bit of laughter, a little bit of joy, where there has been so much heaviness. And he's saying he's excited to bring that bandwidth layer here to us today. And he says, in his lifetime, it was not always easy to be him, to be alive, to be safe. He had some addiction, he had some mental breakage or mental illness in his life. And, if you think about it, he made so many movies and he was in so much that gave us a lot to learn from. And he says, I was always genuine, authentic myself, even though I'm an actor and was playing Mrs. Doubtfire or playing Jumanji or playing different roles that we loved to see him in. And he says, I want you to think of that movie, What Dreams May Come, because this time period is a little bit, there's a representative of that energy in the collective, all of you, especially those of you who chose channeling number 3 with Robin Williams. And he's saying, some of you may have seen it. It's an old movie. I can't remember the lady that's in it. We've all seen her, that plays the wife. Annabella starts with an S. So the background of that movie, What Dreams May Come, is that the family, happy, whole, happy family, one day they had the children died in a car wreck. So it's unfathomable, and no human being should lose a child. And then later, The husband and the wife did pretty well through insurmountable, incomprehensible suffering and loss. And then one day he was going to work and he died. And so she was left by herself. And it was just too much for her. It caused so much suffering, and it made her lose hope and faith. And I cannot see how it would not for anyone that's had any kind of loss, unbearable. And so she decided to kill herself because she couldn't take it anymore. And as we know, there are many who feel like they don't want to be here. They feel like they're not at home. And all of us know 1, 2, 3, many people that have killed themselves because of the pressure and their demons. In a way, we could say that were in the collective consciousness that got loud for them. And he's saying, I just want you to remember in that movie, I knew in my heart, even though other people said when he was in heaven and he said, where is she? Like, she's deceased now, or where is she? And he had to go into the underworld. And it was really scary and really awful, but he decided to wait. He didn't sacrifice himself to the devil. He waited until she came to her senses and waited for the pain and suffering to be swept away by God and recognize him so they could rise up and ascend together. And he's saying that's also possibly a Christed storyline. And he's saying our hearts are going to be healed as we're balancing. Our hearts are divine masculine and feminine, some of us would say, within. And connecting with God's source and returning to hope and faith. No weapons used against us, formed against us, shall prosper. And he says, in the movie, the husband stayed for a very long time until the wife could understand and they could come back out of the underworld, the suffering, the darkness. And he says there are many fragmented pieces of all of us stuck in places, in different people, in places, in prisons, and that's been throughout history. And he says you don't even understand how much shadow work you guys have done. It's been so hard for some of you, divine children of God, starseeds, loved ones, just light workers. And he's saying it's been so hard for so many of you, and you took on some of the collective karma to stop it for good, complete cycles, soul contracts. And he says you have no idea the new Akashic records and soul contracts that you have are full of beautiful joy and a lot of faith and hope and harmony and unity consciousness. And he's saying there's a lot to look forward to. And he knows that most of you, many of you, have had such pain and such grief. You wonder sometimes, like, what's the point of this? Why am I here? And he said, you know, at the end of his life, we know that he killed himself. He had early onset of Lewy body dementia, which would be fast-paced dementia. So he did it on purpose so that he could help his family, and he loved them very much. He would never leave them on purpose. But taking care of him through the severe dementia, it was a choice he made. And he says, I'm not in the darkness. I'm not missing. And he says, we're pulling you all out too while you're here on earth. And he says, we don't know some of the things that have happened to us, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, our souls, sometimes just leave us in a state of fragmentation or pain or depression. And he says those things are not of God. Those things are not of the light. And well, sure, we've learned some lessons, but we don't learn from those lowest of lows. And we came here to stop them because we are a light. We are a light existence, a light collective, divine. And he says your divinity will be amped up. You'll be able to just understand more and easily have that faith and that hope and move forward in really cool ways. Some of you will be receiving some news that might be a little bit uncomfortable, but things will be worked out for you. And you are safe, and you have a lot of angels with you. And he says, keep asking the angels, and just know any of those times that we're walking through the shadows and we're going through the underworld and trying to find pieces of us or our true divine counterparts, our soulmates, our soul tribe, our soul family, just know that even though it's scary and it hurts really bad, that there is, the answer is for the end of to the end of time and back, freedom, and just this is the new era, and back to the divine blueprints. He's saying, as heaven on earth is meant to be. He's saying, listen to the animals or watch the animals, and he's saying there are many signs for us all. And I pulled a card as we were talking from the Lightworker Oracle that he chose. This is beautiful. Family of Light. And he's saying, I just, it's so important that you see this. So if we're down here and we can't remember that we are part of the rainbow bridges and the higher frequencies, we are part of the higher love. Just know that your angelic beings of pure divine light are always with you. So anything that's been done, any violations, anything, it's been known and recorded. And there's justice. And look at the trumpets. It's time, and you get to come back into your wholeness and peace and divinity and freedom and the family of light, purified, Christed light, that you are in your tribe, God, source, light, whatever words you use, the universe, creator, is with you. And why don't you talk to your family of light and ask them to show you and help you. And he's saying, why don't you ask them to help you in ways you don't know to ask? Don't even know what to ask, but what can I know today? And he's saying that will help a lot. Everything's going to be all right. And he says, play with your food, play with your every circumstance. Play in the shower, play when you're in the car, not play like drive badly, but like play, and just know that fun is coming back into your existence. And when you thought you could never smile again, or you are not going to be okay, there are blessings and answers and truth, and many of you are having like justice. He's saying justice come in, because some of these things were unjust, and some of the things that happened in our collective consciousness throughout the many thousands of years, as well as in our generational patterns, were very unjust. And he's saying some of the justice is being served, and you'll see it, feel it, know it inside. And he's saying, all of you that talk to your loved ones that are passed, just know you'll hear them, feel them, know them in different ways here and there. Just expect it. As we complete this part of the chosen channeling with Robin Williams, number 3, we're going to pull a starseed card for the last part of the message. He's saying love really is all there is. He's got a little British background accent. So, strength. Accidentally pulled 2. He's saying, remember, just when there's no hope and you're just so worn out, you're so beaten down, just know that you are being guided by the cosmos. Stay strong and a positive outcome is assured. Have compassion for each other, I say. Strength. You're so strong. And the other card that came out with it is Starseed. That just means an awakened to your cosmic truth and connection in your divinity here on Earth. Starseed, raise the vibration of the planet through your radiant, loving light. He's saying, anytime you've ever loved, it's not a game, it's not a joke. You're not a game, you're not a joke. Because I think there are so many programs going on where, like, if you were nice to somebody and they were mean, or they lie, cheat, and steal, like I see this all the time in readings, it's supposed to bring shame and make us lose hope. And that's in the collective consciousness. And so we just go, oh, well, shut up. And it makes it worse, because when you're silenced and suppressed, and he says, those pieces are being so free. I can see your heart from here, your shine from here. And he says, just now, hope and faith. And even if you're by yourself today, just feel that love radiating within you and outside of you. And if you want to, just send big love and prayers and groovy vibes of love to the people you love all